I tell my story to anybody that will listen. They finally told my wife she had to get me out of that hospital. They needed that bed for people they could help. All they were doing was storing me till I died. She contacted 12 hospitals before she found one that would take me. Sometime during the night, the 7th night, I woke up, just like that. It was too fast for a normal sleep, let alone a 5-month coma. I tell people it was like being in a totally dark room, and you find a light switch, and you flip it, hey, I see the walls. It was that quick. I looked around, hospital. I knew that. I didn't know why or where, but it was a hospital. But what woke me up, I could hear someone mumbling. Well, I raised up, looked across the room, there was another bed, but there wasn't anyone in it. Now, I was real close to the door because they told my wife they wanted me close to the door because I was going to die any minute, and they wanted to get to me as quick as they could. Well, I looked up and down the hall. As much as I could see, there was no one around. So to be perfectly honest, I leaned back and thought, man, you're going nuts. I thought I was crazy. But then this voice cleared up and spoke up, and it was a man. And he said, Jerry, don't be afraid. You aren't going to die. You're going to live. And you'll do better, but it'll be a very long, hard struggle. Well, I felt like I had a tube running right up in the center of my body. It was so sensitive I could feel my intestines wrapping around it. And it was warm. It wasn't uncomfortable. It was just odd feeling. That lasted about 3 days and then it disappeared, so I can't explain it. But I leaned back in the bed and I thought, boy, if you tell people about this, they're going to lock you in a padded room. I still thought I was crazy. But I went to sleep. Next thing I knew, I woke up. 2 orderlies were picking me up, putting me in a wheelchair. Well, I didn't let them know I was awake. I sat there with my head down like this. I had my eyes open a little bit, but not very much. They took me down this long hallway to a common eating area where they had small tables set up. And they rolled me up and I was looking down. I looked down, I had an egg, a piece of bacon, a piece of toast, and a cup of coffee. Well, I couldn't use the utensils, but I could use my fingers, so it was sloppy. But I ate everything they had in front of me. First food I'd eaten in 5 months. Well, they cleaned me up because I got a little sloppy. And this young girl took me back to the room. And everybody we'd see, she'd go, he ate, he ate, he ate. And all I kept thinking was, I woke up hungry, I ate breakfast. What's the big deal? I didn't realize it had been 5 months. Well, they finally decided that I was going to live. And they were going to let me go home. But they said there was only a 50-50 chance I could ever walk because I'm paralyzed my whole left side. Well, I fooled them again. With the help of a cane, I did walk. Not a lot, but a little bit. So they let me go home, but before they released me, they told my wife, said, don't get too excited. Said, with the very best of luck and the best of care, he can't live 5 years. Well, last April, I celebrated 18 years. 4 years later, I woke up one morning, I grabbed her, I said, I've got to tell you about the dream I had. I dreamed that I was sitting on a marble bench. You know how hard marble is. That bench was softer than the seat in this wheelchair. And there was a marble armrest, and I had a short-sleeve shirt on. And I put my arm up on it, and I thought, what's going on? That marble was the same temperature as my arm, and it's always cold. I was looking out over a field. I figure 10 to 15 acre field. And I thought, who did that? Because that whole field looked like the putting green on a golf course. It was perfect. And there was a little stream running down through it, not very big. I looked at that and I thought, boy, I'd like to taste that water. 'cause it was so clear you could have counted the grains of sand on the bottom. There was a small group of fish slowly swimming upstream. I thought, those are weird fish, 'cause you know fish are always darting this way and darting that way. They weren't. It was almost like a military parade. On the other end of the field were trees. Now they were like the oaks and stuff. They weren't the pines. And I looked at them and I thought, who did that? Every one of them looked like they'd just been pruned. They were perfect. And there was a man sitting there with me. Now, I had a leaf off one of those trees. And we were talking about the intricate detail of the creation of one leaf. And that was Jesus. Someday I'm going to sit with Jesus and we're just going to be buddies. I don't mean to get so... I can't help it. With his help, I can do anything.